Namaste, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to everyone to another session of Global Festival of Venice. We are almost in the concluding stage. We have a valedictory session tomorrow evening. Today, originally we had a book discussion with Professor V. Krishnamurthy, but we had to cancel it at the final moment due to some unavoidable issues on Professor's end. And we are very grateful that today we have Dr. Aravind Raghavanji, who agreed to participate despite a very last minute invitation. So we are very, very thankful to Arvindji also for accepting our invitation and for coming today. It is a very, very, he'll be speaking on a very interesting topic on Ramayana and Advaita, an Advaitic perspective on Ramayana. Very warm welcome to you, Dr. Aravindanji. Thank you for making time. Let me begin with the prayer. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Shri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhatrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Datri Swaha Swadha Namostute Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hare Om. Before we proceed, just a brief introduction to Aravindanji. Dr. Aravind Raghavan Sreenivasan is a PhD from IIT Bombay, and he has been working as a senior scientist at Corning Research Center, India. He also volunteers at Chinmaya Yuva Kendra to share our cultural heritage and Shastra related knowledge with the youth. He has conducted more than 500 self-development workshops for a wide range of audience from children to corporates. He facilitates weekly sessions for the youth on Bhagavad Gita and other Shastras to empower the people from its learnings. He has also acted in several plays and co-scripted 2 plays just like that, which was based on Bhagavad Gita, and Dharma Yodha Vidyaranya, based on the life of Swami Vidyaranya. Again, a warm welcome to you, Dr. Aravind. Please go ahead and start your session.
Thank you so much, Nitinji, for the warm welcome and introduction. And I think it is my good fortune that I got opportunity to share what this beautiful topic on with all of you and this wonderful platform. And so my thanks to you for inviting me for the same. Right. So we have already invoked the grace of Guru. So we'll also just touch upon a small invocation for Ramchandraji and Hanumanji, because we are talking about a topic related to Ramayana. Apadam Pahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Manojavam Marutulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Manadiyuthamukyam Sriramadutam Sharanam Prapadye. Okay, so let me just share my screen and we'll get started. Right. So the topic that we are going to talk about today is Ramayana and Advaitic perspective. So, we all, I'm sure there is, everyone who is part of this audience today is very, very familiar with Ramayana, or we know at least certain aspects of Ramayana are very well known. There cannot be anybody in the entire land of Bharat who has not heard of Ramayana and what it means. And now we are going to try to look at the Ramayana and try to look at certain aspects of it and then see how it makes sense from an Advaita Vedanta point of view as well. So this is the whole object of what we're trying to do. And from where is this coming from? So what is the inspiration for this? So one of the inspiration for me is Swami Chinmayananji, who is the founder of Chinmaya Mission, and he has a very beautiful talk where he brings out this Vedantic significance of Ramayana. And I definitely recommend all of you to you can go to YouTube after this session is over and you can search for that. And the two talks, a small short one, which is about I think 5-6 minutes, where he briefly explains the significance, and there's also a longer one, which is about 30 minutes, where again he elaborates on that whole looking at the entire Ramayana as an anecdote, keeping in mind the Vedantic vision. So this is a very interesting talk. And once when I heard it, and it was something that really inspired me to look at Ramayana in a very different way. And of course, that was like the main inspiration for this. And of course, there are so many other satsang that I've been fortunate, I've been blessed to be part of. And listening to all the different acharyas, different saints, different scholars, all that has also added more and more to this whole idea. And there's a little bit small, it's like just as, the idea, like swadanusad, you add a little bit of salt. So like that little bit of self-reflections on this topic is the result of all this is what I'm going to share with all of you today. So that's so, and hope I'm sure it will be something that might provoke, some more thinking on this, in this topic. Though a few pointers before we get started. This is not a session on the story of Ramayana per se. While we'll be touching upon different characters, different episodes, different incidents, but we are not going to elaborately look at the story or discuss the detail of the story. So I'm going to assume that people are mostly familiar with those episodes and with those characters. So that is one thing. So because if I were to delve into that, then that would be an entire different session by itself. This is also not a session where I'm going to elaborate certain Vedantic concepts. So, like there will not be no discussion on what is Atman, what is Brahman, what is Jagat, what is Maya. So there will be use of those terms, but this is not going to discuss those elaborately because again that is also a topic which is by in itself quite a vast topic, and there are beautiful Prakarana Granthas written by Adi Shankaracharya which we can refer to understand those topics in more detail. So as I said, the idea is to look at our Ramayana and try to understand certain meanings or certain implied uh, perspectives that we can look at from, and then we put on like the Vedantic goggles and we look at Ramayana and then try to see how it fits into that, the way how the story and the episodes and the character fit into the beautiful Vedantic concepts that we already know. That's what we are going to try to do today. One word of caution: just because in the story we'll say, hey, this episode it symbolizes this, or this character represents this quality, or this character represents that aspect. There is symbolism in the story, but please, that is not to mean that the story itself is symbolic. I hope the difference is clear. There can be some certain aspects which we can derive meaning from, we can derive some symbolism out of it. But please, we should not misunderstand, oh, that means Ramayana never really happened. It was just written to convey these Vedantic ideas. That's not what we are saying at all. Ramayana is our itihasa. It is a story, and we are not at all debating that aspect here at all. But we are just trying to look at the story with a new perspective. That's all. So please keep that in mind, that this is no way suggesting that Ramayana itself was written to convey these ideas. It is a description of the events, but they also, on further reflection, bring out certain interesting aspects to it. So again, the episodes and the story are mostly based from Valmiki Ramayana, but some other versions, certain very popular stories or certain ideas are also taken, and those are also explained because they also help to bring out certain points. So that's the reason those are brought in, but predominantly the story will be based on Valmiki Ramayana and how the flow that it follows. All right, so having set the ground rules, let us set the ball rolling. Now, I said that the main inspiration I got was from Gurudev's Swami Chinmayananji's talk. But from where did Swami Chinmayananji get his inspiration? Perhaps one of the places where where Gurudev brings this idea very clearly is from Atmabodh itself. So as we know, Atmabodh is one of the, again, considered to be a Prakarana Grantha written by Adi Shankaracharya, where he brings out beautiful examples and similes to try and explain the Advaitic concept, and also to emphasize what is the self, what is this, what is the Jagat, what are the relationship, kind of relationless relationship between the self and the world and all of that. It's a beautiful text by itself. Now the 50th verse of that text, Adi Shankaracharya has written something very interesting. Will chant it. Tirtva moharnavam hatva Ragadveshadi Rakshasan Yogi Shanti Samayukta Atma Ramo Virajate. What is the meaning of this? Now, Tirtva Moharnavam Hatva, Tirtva Moharnavam, crossing the ocean of delusion, Ragadveshadi Rakshasan Hatva, killing the demons or Rakshasas of Raga and Dvesha, likes and dislikes, Yogi Shanti Samayukta. The yogi is united with peace. Atma Ramo Virajate. In the glory of his own realized self, he abides in his own self as Atma Ram. Now, on one hand, one can just look at this and saying, oh, Adi Shankaracharya is talking about a seeker who has gone beyond and attained the self-realization. But the way he has expressed this, we can't help but think that he is using it from Ramayana. Crossing an ocean, destroying Rakshasas, being united with getting into united with that, with peace, and Atma Ramo Virajate. The use of the word Rama kind of gives it away that in this one beautiful verse, Adi Shankaracharya has brought Ramayana and present it in an allegorical manner or in a way to compare it with the whole process of self-realization and all the different steps that one can cross through in the process of self-realization. So this is again a very, very wonderful way in which Adi Shankaracharya himself has brought out this Advaitic perspective of Ramayana to begin with. So with that, let's get on to the story. We know that the story begins in the beautiful, wonderful place of Ayodhya. Now, Ayodhya means a land of no conflict. And this Ayodhya is being ruled by Maharaj Dasharatha. Now, Dasharatha is the actual meaning is one who can control 10 rathas. Now, from the story we do, let's see whether he could control or not, whether he had that skill, that's a different part. And he has everything. If you see the description of Ayodhya, it's a very, very prosperous kingdom and nothing is lacking. And even Dasharatha himself had great abilities and very great repute and everything, but still he yearns for that's one yearning, one incompleteness he's feeling. I don't have a son. And that is still something that is lacking. So this is the basics of the story of Valmiki. Of course, there is also some background of Valmiki Ramayana about Valmiki Rishi and poetry and all of that, but the actual story begins from here. So now if we go and look at what is the symbolism involved in these beautiful ideas? What Dasharatha, controlling 10 rathas. So all of us also have 10 rathas. Which are those 10 rathas? The Pancha Jnanendriya, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Pancha Karmendriyas, the hands, legs, speech, organ of evacuation and organ of reproduction. These 5 Panchendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas together become the 10 rathas on which all of us are riding. Now, Dasharatha was somebody who was skilled enough to master all those 10 together. And that is why he could live in Ayodhya. Whereas all of us, our Panchakarma, our Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas are all totally out of sync most of the time. And for us, even to control one of them becomes a huge challenge, right? So many times we say, ki, I can't help but, get attracted towards certain, whether it is through taste or whether it is the vision or through hearing, we get trapped in so many ways. In Viveka Chudamani, a lot of examples are given how even one can lead us to problem and all 5 we are attached to. Again, we many times don't have proper control over our karmendriyas. We can't control our speech properly. And then we regret, oh, why did I say this? Why did I say that? So we don't have that control. Therefore, there is conflict everywhere. So, but if we want to become, we want ourselves to become Ayodhya without any conflict, we should learn to master those 10 organs like Maharaj Dasharatha. Now, even if one through sadhana and one through gains all that, that is not the end goal, because even with that mastery of everything, there will be still incompleteness. Because nothing can satisfy us, no matter how great it is, how much our accomplishments in this world happen, because we only seek infinite happiness. And only the infinite can bring us that. So until Rama is born, until that infinite comes, still there will be an incompleteness. But at least by remaining in this way, we will be able to attract Rama into our lives. So this is the beginning of just even in the beginning, we can see so many beautiful messages hidden in that aspect. And let's go and meet the hero of our epic. When is he born? He is born on Chaitra Masa, Navami Tithi, in the Surya Vangsha, and at midday, noon time. So everything related to sun, we'll see. Born in the Surya Vangsha, in the Chaitram, the sun is in the ascendant, Ucha, and that time is born. And in exactly noon time, when the sun is at the highest. And if you know the significance of sun in Vedanta in so many places, right? We all know that what the sun represents, the consciousness itself. Because the sun illumines everything, right? But doesn't get affected by what it illumines. Drik Drishya Vivek and all these are spoken of that. Everything is illumined by the sun, but the sun doesn't get involved in any of them. It is merely an illuminator, but without it, nothing is known. All is known in the light of the sun, and there is no other light we need to see the sun. These are all very Vedantic concepts that are very strongly to describe the consciousness. So everything, sorry, just give me a second. So everything that is illumined by that consciousness, but consciousness itself doesn't need anything else to illuminate. That's why the sun is often used to represent that consciousness. In fact, many Upanishads also, Prashna Upanishad, many places this is commonly used symbol. And Ram being so strongly associated with the sun, we can understand that why Atma Rama is what Adi Shankaracharya has used. And the perfect name that can be given to him, Vashishta Maharshi gives him, he's a Brahmajnani, he gives him the name Rama. There are two different meanings of Rama. One meaning is Sarveshu Ramanti iti Rama. That which revels in every one of us is Rama. So that which revels, meaning that which is present in which all of us and which illumines all of us, that is the Atman, the self. He is that Atma Rama, which is what we just saw as the sun. He is the one who illumines everything and everyone. Sutre Manigana Iva in the Gita, Krishna says that is that thread who is putting everything together. Another meaning of Rama is Sarve Ramanti Yasmin Sa Rama. One in whom all revel in happiness. That Rama is not just the illuminator of the consciousness, he's not just the Chit aspect, he's also Ananda aspect. And the word Rama itself brings so much bliss. So many great Jnanis have written on that. I mean, Bhaktas have written, no doubt. Pipare Rama Rasam, Sadashiv Brahmendra ji, great Mahajnani, he wrote that beautiful Pipare Rama Rasam, right? A very, very famous composition. And so many such compositions are there, just glorifying just the name Rama, it brings so much bliss. And even if you see the story of Ramayana, wherever Rama went, there he brought happiness. And wherever Rama left, that place became lifeless and sorrowful. Maharaj Dasharath, we just saw, right? He was so happy, but the moment Rama left him, his prana went away. His happiness went for first only, but even his prana went away as soon as Rama went. That one, we saw how everybody becomes miserable the moment they are separated from Ramji. The moment they are united with Ramji, there is so much joy and so much life. Sugriva is in very miserable condition. The moment he meets Ramji, he becomes happy and he becomes, life comes into him also, as though. So because Rama is that essence who is the illuminator everywhere. So we have now seen the hero, and now let's look at the heroine. Who is the heroine of the story? Her birth itself is inexplicable. Right? We know the story. Janak Maharaj was just plowing the field, and suddenly, the Seeta, that is the end of the plow, that hit a box, and that box was opened, and inside that was this beautiful girl baby. Now, this is an inexplicable birth, right? There is no logic to it. Of course, if you go to Anand Ramayana, etc., they will say some story is there, etc. But my point is that even if you can say Dasharatha did Putra Kameshti Yajna. So he asked for Putra, so he was given divine payasam, he got Putra. If there is a logic to it, okay. But here it is no logic only. Janak Maharaj was looking to get child. He was just doing that, and suddenly a child comes. Inexplicable, Ayonija, because she is Prakruti herself. So Prakruti cannot be born out of somebody's womb, because in her womb everything exists. She is not in anybody's womb. That is one aspect. That is Ayonija. She's just born without a womb. Second aspect is she's the Maya Shakti of the Lord. She's the Jeeva Shakti of the Lord, and it is inexplicable only. You cannot understand Maya. In fact, they say you don't try to understand Maya. Understand Brahma. It is still easy. Don't try to understand Maya. Because the moment you try to understand it, it will go beyond your understanding. So she is like that only. You cannot try to understand her only, from where it came. And we say, Maya is Anadi. You don't know from when it came. You can't say that at this point in time, everything was Brahman, then suddenly at this time equal to so much, Maya came. It cannot be said. Because there can be no logic and no explanation of the origin of Maya. That is why even her birth is like that only. Sitaji is born suddenly. And she is associated with earth. Now, if you know the Pancha Mahabhutas, right? We have water, fire, air, and space. The five Pancha Mahabhutas. And if there is and among the Pancha Mahabhutas, it is said that the earth is the grossest. But the earth, then comes water, then comes fire, then comes air, then comes space. So therefore, there which is the grossest to subtlest. Space is the subtlest. This is supposed to be the sthula, the most sthula of all the Pancha Mahabhutas is earth. And she is the daughter of earth. So you can see one Rama, who is like the embodiment of that Purusha, of that highest self. And here Seeta, who is born from earth, meaning the Prakruti matter, who is present everywhere. And so that is the beautiful kind. They both come together. Then only the whole story can happen. Because without them, story cannot happen. And she has all the characteristics of Prakruti. The beauty, the kindness, the nurturing ability, the power, the strength. All those qualities of Prakriti is very much present in Sita ji also. And as long as she is in association with Rama, everything is perfect. You'll see that in the story, right? Whenever Rama and Sita are together, perfect, no matter where they are. The moment they are separated, everything becomes problematic. So Purusha and Prakriti together, everything is perfect. That's how it is. And she is also a symbol of the Jivat, the individual Jiva. Because Jiva also, the origin of Jiva is also like that only. You can't say that, okay, you say, okay, I am a Jivatma. Suppose you say, okay, when did you become Jivatma exactly? I'm not asking because I'll remember, but I say, no, it happened in some birth. Acha, okay. So up till birth number 0 or birth number 1, who are you? I don't know. Maybe I must have been Paramatma only. I absorbed with Paramatma. And then suddenly you became Jivatma. How? I don't know. There can be no answer to that. So again, like that only, it is all inexplicable. And that is what is origin is always inexplicable, even for the Jivat. So that is Sita ji. So okay, we have hero and heroine. Let's get further into the story. Now I'm not going to look at everything in the story, right? So otherwise we'll never finish this session. But we will look at certain aspects of the story. So there, as I said, as long as they are in Ayodhya, ruled by Dasharatha, everything is perfect. Rama, Sita are extremely happy and living very nicely. Then Dasharatha loses his power to Kaikeyi's desires. Right? He gives Kaikeyi's wishes. And he is powerless in front of those wishes. And that means what Dasharatha was the master of everything, is lost. And the moment his mastery, his power is lost, Ayodhya no longer remains Ayodhya. It becomes full of conflict and sorrow. That's what happens. The moment that power mastery is lost, everything starts to break down. And Ram and Sita are now going to the jungle accompanied by Lakshman. Very interesting. First of all, as I said, Ram and Sita, they cannot be separated from each other. Very clear. That's why Ramji is even in that whole beautiful argument is in Valmiki Ramayana. Very beautiful that argument between Ram and Sita. Even other Ramayanas, it is beautiful. In Valmiki, especially because Sita ji is the kind of logic and the argument they put forth to each other is very, very, very wonderful to read. Point is, Sita says, I cannot survive without you. So where you are, I have to be. That's why Ram and Sita are always together. And Lakshmana also comes into picture. So what does Lakshmana represent? If you see, Lakshmana is the symbol of Vairagya, who has no interest in anything other than serving Ram. You see his entire life. Lakshmana has never expressed any desire for anything personal. He has not said, Ramji, I actually, I want this. Can I, get this? Or can I want? He has never expressed any desire for himself. His all desire is related to Ramji's service only. And what Ramji wants, that's all he wants. Nothing more. So he is that, in Tattva Bodha it is said, yes, Swarga Bhogeshu Ichha Rahityam is Vairagya. Where there is Ichha Rahityam, no Ichha only is there for any kind of pleasures, whether it is earthly or heavenly. No no desire at all. So Lakshmana was like that, no other desire. That's why he was able to leave everything without even question. He's not even saying anything. Oh, can I go? Can I? In Valmiki Ramayana, there is no conversation Lakshmana even has of asking permission from anybody about going with. He assumes he's going. In fact, he doesn't even ask Ramji or Varmishi. He just says, Ramji, I'm going. I'm coming with you. That is understood. So therefore, he is that kind of a Vairagya. So Lakshmana is symbol of Vairagya. It's important to remember this. Thus, protected by Vairagya, united with Rama, that is with the self, Jeeva lives happily even amidst the chaotic forest of samsara. So samsara, forest is very dangerous place. In fact, in Ramji gives so many reasons why forest is dangerous place to Sita, to dissuade her from coming. But as long as Sita is with Rama and Lakshman, nothing happens to her. She is very happy, very, very comfortable, enjoys, even though she is in the forest. So this is the point. And as long as we are with Bhagwan and protected by Vairagya, this samsara can do nothing to us. We are very, very safe. And we can go through samsara without falling into any kind of trouble. The trouble starts when this separation happens, that we will see. So for almost 13 years, they are perfectly blissed and they're doing a lot of satsang. They're meeting so many Mahatmas. Everything is going perfectly. And then enters Shurpanakha. Now, in Valmiki Ramayana, Shurpanakha just shows up as she is. But in Kamban and in Tulsi Ramayana and Mega Ramayana, she comes in disguise. She changes her appearance and she, takes on the form of a very beautiful woman and she approaches Ramji, etc. We know the story of what she says and the whole thing and all of that. But even though she's looking very, very, very beautiful and, very, very desirable, neither Rama nor Lakshmana have any kind of concern with her. None of them even show an iota of interest in her. Nobody's even having any interest. Ramji, though, you can still say, he's with Sita ji, so maybe he's not showing interest because Sita ji is with him. But Lakshman ji could, in fact, Ramji says, you go to Lakshman. She even goes to Lakshman ji. But Lakshman ji, though, on the other hand, he drives her away eventually. Why? Because he's Vairagya. Vairagya is not going to be shaken. That's the kind of Vairagya we should have, which is not affected by any kind of temptations. So this is the effect of the temptation on Ram and Lakshman. No effect. Then now in Tulsi Ramayana, there's a very interesting story. Not the other where Sita ji, before this abduction episode, goes before the Maricha episode, is actually swapped with a Maya Sita. That's what the story says. It's not in other versions of Ramayana, but it's in Tulsi Ramayana. She's swapped with Maya Sita. Now, this is very interesting. So if you look at it from the Vedantic perspective, Sita with Maya Sita is the Jeeva who is a perfect Jeeva, is now a Jeeva who is under the influence of Maya. Or very strongly under the... Previously Jeeva was perfect with Bhagwan. Now Jeeva is under the sway of Maya. And this is where the trouble starts. And the golden deer shows up. And we know that everybody says, no, Lakshmanji says not a good idea. Ramji is also reluctant, but Sitaji is just... Till that time, Sitaji never wanted anything. But then she said, I want it. And this Maricha in Kamba Ramayana is a very beautiful description. When Vishwamitra Maharshi comes to Dasharatha, asking for Ram, Ram to, Lakshman to, not Ram, Lakshman, he only asked for Ram to come with him. So he mentions that this Maricha and Subahu, they are, troubling us like lust and anger. That is desire and anger, how it troubles rishis, like that is Marich and Subahu are troubling him. That's a very interesting example he uses. So where Marich is a symbol of desire and Subahu is a symbol of anger. Rama destroys Subahu one shot. But Marich is not able to destroy. He only is able to drive it away. There is one in Valmiki Ramayana, there is one more prasanga when Ramji is in Aranya. This is early part of their forest life. I think when they are in Chitrakuta around that time, or we just entered Dandakaranya around that time, where Maricha again attacks Ram and Sita in the form of some animal. He takes some beast form and he tries to attack Ram and Sita along with his this again. His associates are killed, but he's nearly killed, but he escapes. Maricha, and it was then that he decides to give up all this and becomes, kind of like a sannyasi and sits somewhere till Ravan comes and meets him. And then the third time he's now actually coming in front of Ramji. So this is the third time he's showing up in front of Ramji, and every time he's coming in different form. First time he comes as himself, second time he comes in the form of a beast, third time he's coming in this golden deer form. The point there is Subahu one-shot destruction. Among desire and anger, no? Anger one can still control. But desire is the tricky fellow. Well, desire seems like we have controlled it, seems like we have won over, but it simply keeps coming back and taking different forms. And if you are not careful, then one of those forms will delude us. That is what happens this time. So, of course, Ramji is not deluded, but Seeta ji is deluded. And for the first time, she sends Bhagwan away from her. Till now, she has always been with Bhagwan. Now, suddenly, there is a separation between Ram and Seeta, between the Jeeva and the Paramatma. There is a separation, as though a separation has happened. And that is where the trouble starts. The moment separation comes, the moment you are no longer associated with that divinity, then you become, all the trouble starts. And we know the famous episode, Maricha goes, is captured, is killed by Ramji. While dying, he says, oh Rama, oh Sita, oh Lakshmana, and all of that. And we know all the harsh words that Sita tells to Lakshmana. And her behavior in that phase is really very uncharacteristic. You have never seen before and after that episode, Seeta ji behaving in this manner. But for that one scene, kind of, she's as though a new character only, entirely different character. So how do we explain this sudden change in her personality? And we can see that she's following and demonstrating the ladder of fall, very famously described in the second chapter of the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha samohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashat pranashyati. So when continuously thinking of things leads to attachment, attachment brings forth desire, desire when not fulfilled gives rise to anger, and anger leads kama krodhat bhavati sammoha, anger leads to delusion. Delusion leads to loss of memory leads to loss of discrimination, and loss of discrimination leads to one's destruction. This is the whole ladder of fall. And you can see that. First, desire. She wanted that, and when Lakshmana, and then the seconds, then after all that thing, anger on Lakshmanji. And the moment she got anger, she got into all kind of delusion. She thought that she knows how great Ramchandraji is. She knows how wonderful he is, what great feats he has performed. Yet she starts to think that he may be in trouble by some Rakshas. Just recently, he has gone 14,000 Rakshasas he's killed in Janasthan alone. But despite all of that, she suddenly starts to doubt him, doubt his well-being, doubt everybody. She starts to doubt Lakshman. Smriti Bhamsha, she forgets how Lakshman is. She forgets what kind of sacrifice he has done, how his behavior is, and accuses him with all kinds of wrong things. And all that Smriti leads to her destruction, as in her getting into trouble. So you can see that Seeta ji perfectly demonstrates the whole ladder of fall as described in the Bhagavad Gita. That's the time of entry, and somebody in that most vulnerable point comes in, Dashagriva. So interestingly, Dashagriva is the name his father gave him because he has 10 heads. Now, earlier we saw Dasharatha. One who has mastered the Jnanendriya and Karmendriya is Dasharatha. Dashagriva means 10 heads, and all heads are looking outside. Meaning somebody whose Pancha, Karmendriya and Jnanendriya are always engaged outside. Means someone who's fully extroverted and involved with the world. He is Dashagriva. Completely extrovertedness, completely involved outside. That is Dashagriva. And the way the name Ravana was actually given to him by Shiva. And why? Because even his hands were trapped under Kailash Parvat, he cried so much that his shouting made everybody cry. Somebody who makes others cry is called Ravana. It's a perfect name, right, for him. Somebody who makes others. So Shivji gave him this name, Ravana. He was known as Dashagriva. Both these names are very much, because the one who is totally extrovertedness, fully extrovert, will be someone who will make you cry, and he will make himself cry and make others also cry. That is the personality of Ravana. And how does he come approach Sita? He comes in disguise as the hermit. Very interesting. If you see in our life also, no, many times our desires, our temptations, our extrovertedness, it enters disguised as nobility. You will see many times, it's like supposing, you go to some, you're taken a vrat that, I will on Ekadashi vrata. I am doing Ekadashi vrata today. And you go to somebody, some event having, you go to somebody's house and then they are like, Hari, please have something. And you're like, no, I'm on Ekadashi vrata. And then first, they will bring some idli or something, you say Ekadashi vrata. And then they will bring, say, gulab jamun, or they'll bring some payasam. And then you'll be like, if I keep saying no, I'm actually hurting the heart of that, of the host. I'm being rude to the host. I think it is not right, morally correct for me to hurt the host so much. So for their sake, so that they don't feel bad, let me take one gulab jamun or two gulab jamuns. Nothing will happen because of that. I'm doing it for them. And then all that, and then we will not know when the whole gulab jamun plate is over. Second, third serving also will get over. Meaning, often it seems as though we are very nobly doing something when actually we are being driven by the extrovertedness. So our intellect kind of gives us all these arguments, like Arjuna, right? In the first chapter of the Gita, so many arguments he presents why he should not fight. Oh, for the Varna Sankara will happen, all the people will get destroyed and all of that. But ultimately his point was, I am attached to Bhishma Drona. That's the point. We sometimes don't know our own intentions because they are disguised as something noble, but they are not. So here also same thing happens, and Ravan comes and kidnaps Sita and takes her away. Now, where is Sita being taken? She's been taken to Lanka. The fortress of Lanka. Lanka is a fortress. If you see the description of Lanka that Hanumanji gives to Ramchandraji after his visit, it is an impregnable fortress. So many things are there. There's a sea. Then in the island also there is a moat, there's a river, and in that moat there are crocodiles, and then there are these big, big gates, and those gates have automatic weapons which can fire. It's actually a big fortress where once somebody enters, totally trapped. You cannot come out. In fact, Angad says, I can go, but I'm not sure if I can come back. Because Lanka is like that. And it is a den of the sensuous pleasures, where if you once get trapped, very hard to come out of it. Very only Hanumanji, somebody like Hanumanji can come out of there. Nobody else. They will get trapped only. So that's why the Jeeva also gets trapped amidst all these pleasures. And the three brothers, take charge are there in Lanka, right? Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vishnu. Again, very beautiful. If you look at them, their personalities, Kumbhakarna is Tamoguna. Predominant is Tamoguna. We know that. Eating and sleeping. That's all. His main purpose is eating, sleeping, eating, sleeping. And eating means not normal. Consuming things. He eats people whole. Even in the army, in the fight, he just eats vanara. He eats everything, just indiscriminately. So he consumes. Tamas is like that only. Tamas will totally consume us. That is Tamoguna. Ravana is Rajoguna. He cannot sit still. In Uttarakhand and Valmiki Ramayana, there's a whole description of Ravana Charitra. You see, he doesn't sit still only, this guy. He's conquering this, then he's conquering that, then he wants to take over this, then he wants to fight with them. He's fighting with everybody. Devas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Yakshas. Everybody is fighting with. Even Rakshasas he's fighting with. Always wanting to create, agitation and conflict everywhere and never satisfied. So Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And the exception, Vibhishana, is a Sattva. He only, when Brahmaji asks him for a boon, he asks for pure heart. He says, give me pure mind, I should not lose track of that self and protection from Brahmastra. That's all he asks. And also knowledge of Brahmastra. That's all he asks because he wants to know the one weapon. That's all he asks. And he is blessed with everything else by Brahmaji. So, Sattva Guna Pradhan. And these three gunas form this, create this Lanka. Like how it is said, Trigunatmayi Maya. Maya is made of all three gunas. These three gunas, and inside, once you're trapped, very difficult to come out because it is predominantly ruled by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Sattoguna is very suppressed over there. That's the problem there. And Sita in Lanka, however, luckily manages to be in Ashokavana. Why Ashokavana is very important? Because even though Sita is trapped amidst all of that, she finds in her now we have seen the fall of a Jeeva. From here on, we'll see the rise of a Jeeva. So if we see all of us are like right now in Sita ji's condition, where we are trapped, now we will see how to come out of it. That's the next part of the story. And so so we should follow what she did. First thing she did, she remained in Ashokavana, meaning she found that one point within her, that center, which is not amidst all these, pleasures and all of that. She finds that one center and abides in that one center, one point. She refuses to bow down to Ravana. We know so many, all these, Rakshasas, the Rakshasis who are surrounding her, they insult her, they taunt her, they threaten her. All of that they do, but she just quietly bears all of them. So if you see, Sita ji displays all the sadhana chatushtaya, the basic qualifications. When Ravan comes and says, no, I am so great, I am this, I am that, she says, you cannot even, you are nothing in front of Ramji. How can you even compare yourself with Ramji? He is like the sun and you are like some glowworm. How can you two even compare with each other? She has a discrimination very clearly. Nitya Anitya Viveka. He is Nitya. Rama is Nitya. This Ravan guy is Anitya. Nitya Anitya Viveka she has. Very clear. Knows what is real and what is not real. So that discrimination she has. Vairagya. No matter what Ravan offers her, he offers her everything. None of that is of any interest to her. Viveka Vairagya. All the Shatka Sampatti. Shama. Because she withdraws herself completely. Keeps her mind only focusing, without any on no other thing. She's constantly remembering Ramji. And Dhamma, as I said, she's placed in the Ashok Vatika, away from all those pleasures. Physically, she doesn't even look at Ravan. Ravan comes, she doesn't even look at him. But she just keeps one blade of grass and doesn't even look at him. Dhamma, she's keeping herself away from all those things. Uparama, which I say, withdrawal into everything. Titiksha, bearing all of those things. She has Shraddha that yes, my Ram will come. And the one point where her Shraddha slightly shakes, immediately Hanumanji comes. But till it Shraddha is, and that's what brings the Samadhan. So, and in all of this, she has the intense longing to get back to Ramji. In fact, at one point, when she feels that I cannot, Ramji maybe is forgotten about, was not going to come, she doesn't know. At that point, she had Ravan is going to kill me anyway. She decides to take her own life because for her, she cannot live without Rama. That is mumukshutvam. Nothing matters to me except that longing, deep longing to get that truth. So all the sadhana chatushtaya is displayed by Sita ji, and something that we can also get inspired from her and practice in our life. Then finally, Bhagavan's, and just like you have Sita longing for Bhagavan, Ram longs for Sita, right? And it's a very beautiful idea. It is said that when we feel dissociated from Bhagavan, how much sad we are, no? Bhagavan is so much more sad. So he seeks us also as much as we seek him. That's why even little bit of good desires come in our heart. Na? Something, maybe I should do some satsang. You'll be flooded with opportunities for satsang. You will not know from where it is coming. It will keep coming. And if you say, oh, I should do some seva, here, take. And if you are very deeply caught in something, something will happen, will break that attachment and make us question things. Because he is longing for us as much more maybe than what we are longing for him. So you see, read that portion, Valmiki Ramayana, so incredible the way Ramji cries and all sorrow he has. In fact, in Tulsi Ramayana, Parvati ji gets doubt, he is Vishnu only or with some ordinary human, so much is crying. So that much Bhagwan has longing for us also. And it is Hanumanji who brings Ram and Sugriva together. And then we know that the story that Ramji kills Vali hiding behind the tree and crowns Sugriva as a king. Sugriva gathers Vanaras from all over to assist Rama. What is the symbolism in this? Vanaras are the representative of thoughts. Because what is the basic nature of Vanaras? They are never in one place, always jumping here and there, always asthira. And they generally are, always chaotic. That's how our thoughts are. And they're innumerable. There is one very interesting portion in Yuddhakand in Valmiki Ramayana where Ravan is trying to gauge the strength of Ram's army. So he asks one of his spies, Shuka, to describe the army. And the numbers that he says are, they're mind-boggling. I think 10 to the power some 60 or something like that it goes, those numbers. So that is basically you cannot count those many Vanaras are there. Meaning like our thoughts. We have innumerable thoughts, right? There's some statistics which says that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. We have incredible number of thoughts. And all of them are generally scattered here and there and nothing good comes out of it when it is like that. And behind all there, because usually they are under the control of Vali, who is a symbol of lust. Now, love, that one story is there, right? Which says that why Ramji killed from behind the tree was because Vali had this power that anyone who faces him, half their strength will come to Vali. And that's why Ramji killed from behind the tree. Again, this story is not in Valmiki Ramayana, but in many versions of Ramayana it is there. So why is this symbol important here? Because lust here is not just carnal desires, but any kind of strong desires we have. No, the moment you confront that object of desire, you lost the battle there at the beginning, because you will feel powerless. Somebody who's an addict, who drinks, for him, if he wants to come out of drinking, first he has to be away from all things which remind him of that. If he goes to a bar and says, let me challenge myself, I'm pretty sure he will fail. Very soon he or she will fail. Because the moment that bottle comes in front only, half their energy is gone. So if you want to confront lust, you must practice some amount of Dhamma. Stay away from it. Don't directly face it. Stay away from it and then bring it under control. That's the one symbolism of that aspect. And Griva means reins. Sugriva means somebody who has controlled the reins, which means somebody who has controlled his senses, controlled his mind. And that's the aspect of Shama. And if you see, even in the Kathopanishad, right, the famous example, the mind is called the reins, and the horses are the senses, the mind is the reins. Somebody who is self-controlled is Sugriva. And when the Vanaras are under Vali, they cannot be of any use to Bhagwan. But the moment they come under the control of Sugriva, they are readily available for Bhagwan. So they said that mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. A mind which is like under Vali cannot be the reason of bandha. But the mind which is under Sugriva can become the reason for moksha. So that is the whole idea. So this removal of Vali is an example of Chitta Shuddhi, where all the Shad Ripu are all destroyed. So Chitta Shuddhi. And the coming together of all the Vanaras for Rama's sake is Chitta Ekagrata. Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata have to happen for any spiritual seeker to move ahead. So very beautifully that both those ideas are conveyed in the Kishkinda Kand episode. And finally, when Seeta ji is about to give up, Hanumanji manages to reach her. And what all challenges he faces. We had once done a separate session just talking about Hanumanji's journey to Seeta. So much of symbolism is there even in that. I won't be able to do any justice to it. That's why I just put one sentence and to leave it at that. But it's a beautiful journey itself of how Hanumanji actually goes and meets Seeta ji. But and she gives her hope. He restores her faith, gives her Rama's ring, and also in Tulsi Ramayana he actually meets Vibhishan. And a very beautiful prasanga is there, where he tells Vibhishan that, don't do it. Why are you doing this? You're such a great person. Why are you just being there? Vibhishan says, and just one line I'll quote from that. Vibhishan says that I am like the tongue between teeth. I'm a soft-hearted person, and these teeth are all, so powerful, and always the danger of being bitten by them. So I'm like the tongue between teeth. So Hanumanji twists that and says, in old age, all teeth will fall, but tongue will remain. So don't feel bad. You will remain even if others go. Once you become associated with Ramji. So he is the one who comforts Vibhishan, and he confronts Ravana. I know that whole episode, and finally, how he sets fire to entire Lanka. So what is the end? Of course, he comes to Ramji and immediately tells him, please, Sitaji is waiting for you. Time is very less. Immediately, let's go. Who is Hanuman? Hanuman means one whose chin is broken. And the chin is usually representative of ego, right? If you want to show somebody who is egoistic, they will show like this, right? If you see, someone who always keeps his chin is coming in the front. That is a person, an egoistic person. Doesn't like that. So the chin is a representative of ego. So Hanuman, broken chin means somebody whose ego is broken, meaning someone who is already a master, who's self-realized person. He is the representative Guru. And what does Guru do? He encourages the Jeeva, like how he encouraged Seeta ji, and gives him a glimpse of that divinity. Like Hanumanji showed that ring, right? To tell Seeta ki, Rama is coming. Look at this ring, it is Rama's. He is also going to come. In that way, it is the Guru's words which gives a glimpse of that truth. Hey, you are that only. Tat Tomasi, you are only that higher truth. So you don't worry. And and that initial encouragement we get as a seeker. And also, he encouraged Vibhishana. So the Guru's words will awaken the Sattva Guna in us, will make us more lean towards Sattva more. and destroy all the sensuousness. Burn Lanka. So Guru's words have got all that power, and it's often said that Guru Kripa is essential to get Bhagavad Kripa. There's a famous doha, right, of Kabir, that if God and Guru come together, who should I do? He said, I should first do Namaskar to Guru, because of Guru only I am getting God. So that Guru Kripa is very, very important in our, so many Guru Ashtakam, so many beautiful compositions are there. Totakashtakam is there, all that, which talks about the glory of the Guru. So the Guru Kripa, that's why Hanumanji first comes to meet Sita, then Ramji comes. Because Guru Kripa will bring Bhagavad Kripa also. And so this is happening. And we just saw that Vibhishana finally rebels against Ravana, leaves Lanka, surrenders at the feet of Bhagwan, and there's a very beautiful Vibhishan Sharanagati Prasanga, where all of them give different arguments about how Vibhishana should be treated. Only person who speaks in favor of Vibhishana is Hanumanji. He only says that no, you accept him, he's a good guy. And Ramji, of course, is very happy and he definitely accepts him and crowns him as the king of Lanka. We just saw, right? Who was Vibhishana? Vibhishana was the representative of Sattva-guna. So when usually Sattva-guna becomes overwhelmed by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. That is our condition, most of us. Where our Sattva-guna is there, but it is struggling to get voice. Always suppressed by the Rajoguna and Tamoguna in us. And that's why we are in this kind of a chaotic Lanka. But the moment satsanga happens, Hanumanji's contact happens, Viveka becomes, and the resolve develops in us to rise above all of this. That's why he flies out of Lanka, and after arguing, he says, this is not done, I'm not going to no longer be with you. And you reach Bhagwan, meaning you start practicing sadhana to get closer to God, to get upavasa. Upavasa means to stay close, get closer to God, practice some sadhana to come closer to Bhagwan. And at that time, Bhagwan himself, Bhagwan immediately made, you are the king of Lanka, he declared. Ravan is still alive, but he declared, you are the king of Lanka. Lakshman, bring some ocean water. We will do here only we will do his coronation. Meaning what? Bhagwan, the moment we make any effort to awaken the Sattva-guna in us and move towards Bhagwan, Bhagwan will help us immediately to strengthen the Sattva-guna and remove the Rajoguna and Tamoguna influences on us. That is why immediately he's already declared you are king, and he will make it happen also. So this is all set, and finally they all arrive, and the great battle happens. A miraculous Ram Setu is constructed. The fortress of Lanka is breached, and I'm just skipping the whole thing. And in the battle, first to fall is Kumbhakarna, then to fall is Indrajit, and finally fall is Ravana. And of course, Vibhishana, as promised by Bhagwan, is made the king of Lanka. What is all this showing? This Rama Setu itself, is because if you see, as we said, Lanka is this world of plurality, full of, always, full of Maya and all of that. And Bhagwan, we saw, is that Purusha, Supreme Purusha. And sometimes I feel whether Bhagwan can ever reach us. Bhagwan can even never come to us. Because Bhagwan is that and this is completely different. But that seemingly impossible connection happens between the non-dual Brahman and this world of plurality. The Ishvara aspect of Brahma manifests through different forms and reaches us. That's this Ram Setu. And Tamoguna is the first to be destroyed. Because as we said, Tamoguna is the basis of all. And that's the first to go. Next to go, Indrajit, the name itself, right, is a declaration of his accomplishments. And if you see Indrajit's character, he's very, very different character. In fact, in Uttarakhand, the rishis, they meet Agastya Rishi, etc. They meet Ramji and say, you defeating Ravana is okay. You defeating Indrajit is even better. And Ramji says, why you are saying like that? Because Indrajit, he continuously used to do some yajna, yaga, etc. Not with any noble intention in mind, but to increase his power. Always seeking to grow his power, do anything that is required to increase him, to grow, to become more powerful. That is the tendency to, he is born from Rajoguna, the son of Ravana. But the tendency is always to seek accomplishments externally. That tendency is always there. So the worst, some worse is Tamoguna. Tamoguna has to go first. Next, this tendency to constantly seek things outside, that should go. Then you can withdraw and confront finally the ego in that seat of meditation. And the false ego which creates this false division between the Jeeva and the Ishvara, or between the individuality and the totality, that ego is destroyed. Ahankaara is destroyed, and finally the two can come together. That's the destruction of Ravana. And the divine union happens. So Sita is brought for Rama, and strangely, Rama does something on which lot of people still keep talking about it today also. But it is a very different topic. Again, we will not go into details of why Ramji did and all of that. And just this much I will say that Ramji never told Sita to go into the fire or test prove her purity. She herself voluntarily did it. It is Agni. It's not Agni Pariksha. It's an Agni Pravesha. Sita ji did, and there are many reasons for it. I will not go into that in today's session. But point is that whole episode happens, and in Tulsi Ramayana it is said that this Maya Sita, who was kept there, who went through all of this, that Maya Sita disappears into the fire, and the real Sita comes back. That's what Tulsi Ramayana says. And finally, this Ram and Sita are united and they fly back to Ayodhya in Pushpaka Viman. Now while coming, all that effort, which they had to walk all the way till here. But return is very quick, straight in Pushpaka Viman. And Ram and Sita rule Ayodhya together, ushering in Ramarajya. This is the story of it. Now let's look at the symbolism. The final merger between Jeeva and Ishvara, between Jeeva and Brahma, can only happen by burning away that ignorance in Jnanagni. This is often, this is the Advaitic standpoint for sure. If you see in Atmabodh itself, he says that action is not the main cause for all the bondage is ignorance. And ignorance, avidya, cannot be taken away by action because that is not opposite in nature. So you can only take away darkness through light. And therefore, only knowledge can destroy the ignorance. Finally, so all the karma, etc., can purify us, but finally, the destruction happens through knowledge. So, before the merger can happen, the Jnana Agni is where that Maya's effect is completely destroyed, and then the Jiva and Ishvara can become one again. And in fact, is when after this, in the Valmiki Ramayana, after Ram Sita come together, all the devatas, etc., they all show up and they say, Ramji, you should not suspect Sita. She's so pure, you should accept her and all of that. And Ramji says something very, very beautiful. He says this, he says, auspicious Sita would not have cared for the fortunes in the gynecium of Ravana. She's just like the radiance of the sun, attached to the sun, attached to me and none other. Maithili is unsullied in the three worlds. Renouncing her is not feasible, just as fame. And she is like my own self. Basically, what Ramji is saying is, Ravana can never take her away from me. She is like the radiance, we are like the radiance and the sun. The sun and its radiance cannot be separated, right? You can't separate the light from the sun. They're always together. So he said this whole drama that Ravan did is just drama. In reality, we are not separate. That's what we are saying, right? Ultimately, even in Nirvana Chakam, it is said, na muktir na bandha. There is nothing like mukti or bandha because the whole thing is a drama. They can never be actually separated from each other. Ishvara and Jiva cannot be. That's the Advaita concept. And Rama is saying like that. Sita is my own self. And we cannot be separated from each other. It's all just for show. That's all Ramji is saying. So again, that brings out the Advaitic standpoint. And once they are together, then we know that becomes the Jivan Mukta. And Jivan Mukta flies in Pushpaka Viman, meaning what? He's above samsara, is no longer troubled by anything in the samsara, and lives fully integrated and revels, abiding in that self. And such a person brings great blessing to the world. Like Sita and Rama together brought Ramarajya. And it's like that, this Jivan Mukta will bring great prosperity and great blessing to the whole world. Now, of course, please don't tell me, but then they got separated. Then I know in Uttarakhand what happens, but this symbolism aspect is right now we'll understand from this perspective till this point at least. And finally, so this is like the whole symbolism that you have tried to understand and bring a different perspective to those episodes of Ramayana, each of which is very, very beautiful and very, very thought-provoking. And so we'll conclude with this, beautiful relationship between Jiva and Ishvara. A very famous verse I'm going to quote. It is not from any Ramayana. In fact, the source of this verse is very hard. It's still very debatable. I'm not a scholar, but apparently there is one Hanumat Sukti which has this verse, and there are a few other compositions which have this, but it's a very beautiful verse. It's supposed to be a conversation where Ramji asks Hanuman, what is our relationship? Who are we to each other? So Hanuman replies with this very famous shloka. He says, Deha buddhya tu dasosmi, Jiva buddhya tvadam shakah, Atma buddhya tvamevaham, iti me nishchita matihi. Oh Lord, when I am associated with my body, I am thy dasa, servant, which is Advaita. I am your dasa, you are my Swami. There's a difference. When I consider myself as a Jeeva, I am a part of you. Tat Amushakah. And when I look at myself as that self or that Atma, Tameva Ham, I am only with you only. And iti me nishchitamati. So it's a very beautiful verse which looks at Ram Hanuman relationship, but also looks at all the three philosophies of Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Advaita put together in just one verse. So before I conclude, why okay, one, I know we are almost out of time. Why are we doing this discussion? Why one is, yes, it's a fascinating thing to look at, and there are actually much more things which I didn't talk about today, but you can, each one can get into the journey where you can look at it from more and more. But on one end, it's intellectually stimulating. Wow, it's very nice to hear. But that's not at all. The idea is that these characters and these episodes, they talk about the fall of the Jiva and also how a Jiva can get back to merge with that Supreme. So we just have to follow the template that has been given to us. And if we follow this template, we will attain that reality. So that's the whole idea. As a sadhak, as a seeker, we should take that idea and work on it. And that will be like an inspiration, a guiding force for us. So may our resolve to serve Bhagwan be as strong as Lakshmana's. May our longing to be with Bhagwan be as strong as Sita's. And may our strength to overcome obstacles on the spiritual path be as powerful as Hanuman's. And may we always revel in the bliss that shines as a self within, as that Atma Rama. Jai Shri Ram. So that's with that I will conclude my this particular topic. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aravind, for a absolutely wonderful session. Can you stop your video
Sure.
share? Yeah. Especially, you ended on a very absolutely wonderful note about the quotation that you said and how it actually concisely expresses the different streams of approach to Ishvara. Whether you approach as a master, whether you approach as a friend, or you approach as your own self. So I think that shloka is also, one of my something I resonate with, and the whole presentation was very wonderful. Thank you very much for doing this talk. I'm sure all of our audience have taken a lot of food for thought and further reflection from this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nitinji.
Viewers, we have another excellent talk tomorrow morning. We are having a talk by Swami Abhedananda Saraswati ji on introduction to Adi Shankaracharya's Adhyasa Bhashya, and Indian ambassador to Ireland, His Excellency Akhilesh Mishra ji will be delivering the valedictory address. Join us tomorrow for both morning and evening session. Thank you very much. With this, we conclude. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.